allegation that may have been leveled against any of the candidates so far. Should that be really the focus of this process, or is there ability of this person to handle the amount of pressure that comes with the seat of chairperson?
There are many dynamics they need to look at as the selection panel. And one of those dynamics is the core competencies of the candidates. They must meet the basic criteria. If they don't meet the basic criteria, including their academic qualification, their aptitude tests, the ability for an individual to handle pressure and work almost unsupervised, work for long hours, their networking capacity, coordination, the ability to coordinate a countrywide process is so important and so core, because you'll find that the kind of capital required to pull through elections, general elections, is a huge outlay of human capital. So the ability to do proper networking, be very persuasive yet very firm, free of any issues that would impugn corruption or check out their character. Those are very important and critical questions that need to be considered. More importantly, when I look at our late chairman of IEBC, Wafula Chebukati, you can already tell the kind of pressure that seat can put on an individual, even on the family of the individual. So when the candidates come in, what I would expect, especially between the large political parties, because they understand the dynamics and how divisive our politics can be, this is not the time to play buddy-buddy. It's a time to assume, to remember the kind of situation Kenya is usually in during elections, and then do the very best they can do, assuming that the elections are very contested. They must make that basic assumption. If they don't make that basic assumption, I can promise you, Dimuli, they can very easily miss it. Yes. I don't want to say that I have a trust deficit, because one of the problems we are suffering as Kenyans is having a situation where many people seem to have trust deficit in everything. They won't trust, even when you fix for them a cup of coffee, they still ask, is that coffee or tea or herbal tea, even when it's obvious. So we need to show more confidence in the panel, but to remind them that the contestation during elections in Kenya is so high that ODM and Kenya Kwanza must stand their foot, assume they are not agreeing because they are the largest political parties or coalitions, and now do the best they can to bring in a candidate. It is very possible, because they must assume, you see, these are the biggest contenders in the next elections, if at all. They must assume the scenario we had in 2022 is the same scenario we have in 2027, or even a little bit more contested than, hotly contested than what we had in 2022. Once you assume that scenario, you look at an individual, a character that can withhold that kind of level of contestations with firmness and an ability to induce a lot of assurance to both political divides. Okay. If they don't assume that, they most likely would end up with a candidate who may not be able to handle that pressure. And the last thing you want when we are sailing through a general election is a candidate who cows in, or a candidate for a chair position who doesn't quite feel the grasp of the job, or doesn't have the real grip of the issues that would be running on their desk. And they have to be very sharp in terms of their legal analysis, understanding of constitutionalism, the ability to have an inclusive approach in issues, the ability to work with all the commissioners on board, and one who drives a lot of confidence and assurance among the Kenyan populace.
Okay. I hear you, Senator, but Bwana Gakuya,